Of the Shadow Realm, Episode 7 finally begins pulling back the curtain on the tragic history surrounding Yuru and Asa's family, delivering one of the series' most emotionally revealing episodes so far. Rather than focusing heavily on action, this chapter slows things down to explore buried trauma, mysterious village secrets, and the terrifying supernatural burden Asa now carries. The emotional episode's biggest strength is easily the atmosphere of unease running through every conversation. From the From the very beginning, it becomes clear that Yuru's childhood memories were never as peaceful as they initially appeared. He reveals that the first time he ever sensed genuine murderous intent directed towards him happened when he was still a child. A bandit suddenly attacked him for reasons Yuru still doesn't understand. His father arrived just in time to kill the attacker. But what makes the scene unsettling isn't just the violence, it's the secrecy afterward. Yuru's father immediately orders him not to tell the villagers what happened. Then, when villagers later ask why they disappeared for a while or whether something occurred, his father simply lies and says everything was fine. That moment quietly reinforces one of anime's ongoing things. The village itself has always been hiding something, and episode 7 leans much harder into that mystery. Through flashback and Asa's explanation, viewers get confirmation that Yuru and Asa's family genuinely loved each other before everything fell apart. Their parents are shown caring deeply for both children equally, making the eventual separation feel even more tragic. However, something clearly terrified their parents enough to force them into fleeing the village with Asa while leaving Yuru behind. One particularly important moment involves Yuru's father whispering something to his wife that visibly shakes her with fear. The audience still doesn't hear what was said, but the reaction alone suggests that family discovered something horrifying connected to the village or the twins themselves. That lingering ambiguity becomes both the episode's greatest strength and its biggest frustration. The emotional centerpiece of the episode comes from Essa finally explaining what happened after leaving the village. According to her, their parents spent years hiding while being pursued, eventually finding refuge with the Kagomeri clan. But everything changed when Asa was captured and assassinated at age 15. And honestly, the episode becomes significantly darker from that point onwards. After her death, Asa encounters a demon existing between the world of the living and the dead. Through that encounter, she gains the power called Break, an ability horrifying enough to immediately reshape the scale of the series' supernatural mythology. The demon explains that as long as Asa can see her target, she can essentially destroy them instantly by serving the enemy's commander head from their body. In theory, it's a power capable of ending wars single handedly, but the show smartly frames the ability less as a blessing and more as a curse. The demon openly warns Asa that if she accepts this power, people will constantly seek to exploit her abilities. Her life will never belong entirely to herself again. She is given a choice: remain dead peacefully or return by accepting the demon and the burden attached to it. Naturally, Asa chooses survival. That decision says a lot about her character. Even understanding the suffering ahead, she still chooses to keep living. It also reinforces one of the series' recurring emotional ideas: survival in this world often comes at an enormous psychological or moral cost. Visually and narratively, the demon sequence also expands the lore in intriguing ways. The concept of entities existing on the boundary between life and death adds a more mythological layer to the story beyond the political conflicts and clan tension already established earlier in the series. What's especially effective is Yuru's reaction afterward, or rather his lack of reaction. After hearing Asa's entire story, Yuru simply says nothing. The silence feel important because the revelation are clearly overwhelming him emotionally. Before he can fully process anything, Tadera arrives unexpectedly and notably enters peacefully through the front door instead of fighting. That small detail subtly shifts the tone of the episode again. Instead of rushing towards another battle, the story pauses to suggest there may be multiple sides to the conflict Yuru still doesn't fully understand. Yuru deciding to hear everyone's perspective before making a decision shows clear character growth and hints that the narrative may be moving towards more morally complex territory. At the same time, episode 7 may frustrate some viewers because it still withholds major answers. Even after all the emotional revelation, the anime continues dancing around the central mystery involving the village itself. The episode repeatedly hints that the villagers were involved in something sinister, but it never fully explained what they actually wanted, why the twins matter so much, or what triggered the family's desperate escape in the first place. That means the episode feels more like a bridge towards future revelation than a complete payoff on its own. Still, despite not answering everything, this episode succeeds because it deepens emotional investment in Yuru and Asa while making the overall mystery darker and more compelling. The story now feels less like a straightforward supernatural conflict and more like a tragedy built around inherited fear, hidden truths, and the power that no one should have ever possessed. By the end of episode 7, one thing becomes very clear. Whatever secret destroy Yuru and Asa's family is far bigger and far more dangerous than viewers initially believed. Thank you for watching. Bye.